From places like Syria, the UK accepted around 8,000 child refugees in total last year. Many who leave war zones make their own way to Europe. Many end up alone in camps like this. Some hoped as many as 3,000 might be resettled here who don't have any family or other links to the UK. The government has confirmed the figure will be far lower than that. Many councils in Wales say that announcement was premature.
We've not reached a definite position of what the capacity is yet. This is why this is disappointing, really, that we found out by this news, really, that the government seemed to have given up on the situation.
Your message to the Home Secretary, then, as a leader of a council in Wales?
Let's work together, let's have constructive talks to see, given the funding and given that we get the technicalities right, because we want to make things better, not worse. That's a given, but let's talk more.
We needed to take...
Pontypridd MP Owen Smith claimed last night there was more capacity in his area too.
I rang my council leader tonight, assuming we might be asked about this, and asked Rhondda Cynon Taf Council in South Wales how many of these children they've been asked to take. They've taken 4. They could take 4 or 5 times that.
It's a mixed picture across Wales. Some councils say they do have capacity, others none at all. Conservative MP David Davis says the UK government has struck the right balance.
The government are absolutely right to do this. They said it had to be in place for a short period of time only, because otherwise what happens is that parents in countries with much lower living standards will simply try and send their children over by themselves in order to get them into Western Europe and then follow them afterwards. So the government are right to do this because they're going to create, you're going to create a human catastrophe if you encourage people to send their children off alone.
Judges are now considering whether the UK government's decision was arrived at in the correct way. The Home Office maintains it's not giving up on vulnerable children, citing other schemes it operates, which have also resettled hundreds of child refugees across the UK.
Paul Heaney reporting there. It's a disease that affects more than 42,000 people in Wales, and today a campaign is being launched aimed at reducing people's risk of dementia. It's based on detailed research that found those who adopt a healthy lifestyle are 60% less likely to develop the disease. James Williams reports.
Colombian dance fitness, Prestatin style. Since her daughter started a fitness business in the area, Julie Rhodes has become a bit of a Zumba fan, attending the class 9 times a week.
It helps me mentally, keeps me alert, it keeps the endorphins flowing. My dad, who's now 95, he's suffering with memory loss, and to see it, it's such a shame, it's such a sad illness to see, so I'd like to prevent it if it's all possible.
Keeping fit is one of the steps recommended by the Dementia Risk Reduction campaign. Launched today, it also encourages people to check their health regularly, cut down on alcohol, and stop smoking in a bid to reduce the risk of developing dementia by up to 60%. 6 tips in all based on research conducted on these men. In total, there were 2,500 of them from the Caerphilly area who were prodded and tested for a generation in one of the most influential research projects of its time. A project led by this man.
We all know that it's beneficial, but actually disciplining and getting round to following the healthy behaviours consistently, for some reason it beats most of us, and yet it is better than any pill.
He was ever so kind and he was ever so sort of gentle, really.
Broadcaster Betty George talking about her husband, David Parry-Jones, in an upcoming BBC Wales documentary. He's one of more than 42,000 people in Wales suffering from the disease.
Nobody would object to a campaign that advises people to lead healthy lives for all sorts of reasons. It won't guarantee, of course, that you won't get dementia, because I know of several people who've led very, very healthy lives who now live with dementia. But what concerns me is that it doesn't solve the problems of the here and now. People already living with dementia and their carers, there's a serious lack of support.
If the trajectory continues as it is predicted at the moment, I think the latest statistics I read from an Alzheimer's Society publication was that the numbers will double by 2050. then we have a big problem. It's really a time bomb we're sitting on.
In an attempt to stop it from detonating, today's campaign message is simple. Put down the pint and pick up the lycra.
90 jobs are to be created in Wrexham by a new financial services business. Chetwood Financial Limited will be based at the town's technology park in an office acquired from the telecommunications company Moneypenny. The start-up is being supported by money from the Welsh Government. Opponents of the proposed takeover of Wrexham-based Dee Valley Water have been granted leave to appeal the move. The High Court approved an £84 million takeover by utilities company Severn Trent on Wednesday. Some staff and customers had opposed it, concerned about jobs and higher bills. The new Shadow Secretary of State for Wales has told this programme that her fellow MPs need to rally behind their leader, Jeremy Corbyn. Christina Rees, the Labour MP for Neath, says she'll meet Carwyn Jones next week to discuss their priorities, but says the party's UK leader must take them into the next election in 2020.
He is our leader. I form part of his shadow cabinet now, which is a tremendous honour, and I shall be working for unity in the party. And we have been united since the summer. You know, we've been working so hard to make it work.
A group of AMs are trying to ban under-18s from having so-called intimate piercings because of serious concerns about the medical implications. The chair of the Assembly Health Committee, Di Lloyd, who's also a GP, says such practice could be viewed as sexual exploitation. Some parlours already set a higher age limit than the law requires and say they'd have no problem if new legislation was introduced. Nick Pallett reports.
First of all, what I'm going to do is clamp the area. I'm then going to check to make sure that there's no veins or anything.
Vicky Dwyer-Thomas performs dozens of piercings a week at this parlour in Cardiff. Ashley is having her tongue pierced, but some customers have piercings on more intimate parts of their body. Now an Assembly committee wants to limit tongue and intimate procedures to the over 18s and not 16, which is the recommendation in a new public health bill going through the Assembly.
There was a large body of opinion that seemed to felt this could be exploitative in nature. Naturally, nobody wants to curtail people's freedom of expression. Some of the evidence we took suggested that this could be seen as a form of female genital mutilation, and so we can't ignore that sort of evidence, and basically that's why we're going with the 18 age consent.
Yep, that's perfectly fine. So if you're happy to go ahead with that.
At this piercing parlour in Cardiff, they've already voluntarily raised the age limit and say they'd welcome a law change.
The lesser intimate piercings, we have an age limit of 18. The more intimate piercings, so to speak, are an age of 21. I think that it will give more protection to customers. It's very difficult for us sometimes when we are confronted with, say, a 17-year-old girl who wants to get an intimate piercing and we say no, and we know that they're going to go to another shop and get it done.
Excellent. There you go.
I've got quite a few body piercings. I think the last count was 23.
And do you think it's right that you need to be over 18 to have the more intimate ones?
Without doubt, yes, 100%.
A spokesman for the Welsh Government thanked the Health Committee for their careful consideration of the Public Health Bill Wales and said they would consider their recommendations.
I love it. It looks amazing, thank you.
Nick Pallett reporting. Still to come in the programme tonight.
The roof is open, the pyrotechnics all prepared. Soon it'll be time for the players to perform. We'll look ahead to that big Six Nations match.
Now it's a row that has split opinion in a small Carmarthenshire village. Which language should the children at the local primary be taught in? The decision made by the council was that Ysgol Llangenech would drop its English language stream from September. It's a move welcomed by groups who want more Welsh medium education, with one prominent campaigner saying those who don't like hearing the language should move to England. David Grundy reports.
It's been a controversial issue in Carmarthenshire, one that's split opinion and led to fiery exchanges.
This is segregation, and at its worst, we're looking at apartheid. I wonder if that's how it started. Don't care. This is my opinion.
But 3 weeks ago, Carmarthenshire Council voted to end the English stream at Ysgol Llangenech, turning it into a Welsh medium school from September. A leading campaigner for Welsh language education has suggested people who don't like hearing the language should move.
If people couldn't bear to hear Welsh being spoken, they should consider going somewhere where they wouldn't have to hear it being spoken, which obviously suggests they should go into England.
Rhieni dros addysg Gymraeg, the campaign group of which he's been a leading member for over 30 years, has distanced itself from his comments, saying Rhag's aim is for Welsh medium education to be available to all who wish their children to be fully bilingual. Meanwhile, parents like Michaela, who didn't want Ysgol Llangennech to lose its English stream, says the issue wasn't about one language being more important than the other.
What we are fighting for is that the Welsh stream remains and the English stream remain. If they were removing the Welsh stream, we would be fighting just as hard. Our school has been 2 languages, English and Welsh, taught side by side for the last 60 years.
The changes at this school have been controversial, but they do feed into Carmarthenshire Council's plans to tackle a decline in the number of Welsh speakers across the county. They also feed into the Welsh Government's objectives of having 1 million Welsh speakers by the year 2050. The changes will begin at Ysgol Llangennech in September, but the divisions the rows caused in the community may take much longer to heal.
Well, not too long now before Wales kick off against England in a much-anticipated Six Nations clash. Thomas Davydd is at the Principality Stadium, I should say, with all tonight's sport. Thomas.
It's a mouthful, isn't it, Lucy? Yeah, the big news tonight is that there are increasing doubts over winger George North. Coaches say it's going to be a close call. They'll leave it late to give him plenty of time to prove his fitness. Well, a lot of the chat this week has been about England's record here in Wales. England coach Eddie Jones has said that past players have been petrified when stepping onto this pitch and that England's record in Cardiff is horrendous. But can we really believe what he says? It all depends on which figures you look at. So let's take a look now at the entire Wales home record against England, stretching back 135 years of rugby, the first game in Wales back in 1882. And Wales just edge it. They've got 36 victories, 21 defeats and 4 draws. I make that a 59% winning record for Wales. But if you look at more recent figures since the game turned professional, well, England have claimed 5 of the 9 championship matches here in Cardiff. Whatever happens tomorrow afternoon, it's fair to say that these games rarely disappoint, as Claire Summers round reports.
Present at training today, but with the media only allowed to observe for 5 minutes, there was not long to witness the fitness of fly half Dan Biggar and wing George North. Wales say they could wait right up until an hour before kick-off to decide if the players are worth risking. Dan Biggar, who suffered bruised ribs in Rome, is believed to be making good progress. But George North, who's recovering from a thigh knock, is a major doubt.
All I can do is rely on what the medics are telling me. You know, they've done everything asked of them to know, and it's obviously a close call because we're leaving it late. We've got contingency plans in place. We've got both Steph Evans and Alex Cuthbert with the squad as well. We're playing against England, second best team in the world. Doesn't matter who you put on the wing. I think they'll be ready for it, and I'm sure both of them will take the opportunity if it comes their way.
Wales-England is always a passionate affair. Over the years, there's been plenty of pre-match psychology. The last time England came to play, there was a standoff. The visitors refused to go out before their Welsh opponents. Tomorrow, some of the faces may be different, but the intensity will be just the same.
When both teams run out of this tunnel tomorrow afternoon, there will be that familiar roar, but there won't be that cauldron atmosphere that Wales love to play in, because, as England requested, the roof is already open.
There's been plenty of pre-match banter between the camps, and with England getting their way over the roof, Robin McBride was in jovial mood today, insinuating Eddie Jones was ringing to change his mind.
Eddie? No, sorry mate, they're in the middle of a press conference. Sorry.
Under the guidance of their canny coach, England are unbeaten since the 2015 World Cup. Victory over Wales tomorrow would make it 16 wins in a row. But England start without many of their key ball carriers.
Without the Vunipolas, without Chris Robshaw, without Manu Tuolangi, they're far from a full-strength team, and Dylan Hartley's not playing his best game. So we always have an outside chance. What could make a big difference is the Welsh bench, the two players in particular, Toby Faletau coming on. I mean, he can make a massive impact. And Sam Davies, who, as he showed against Italy, when there's tired legs, when the play starts to break up, he can play that heads-up heads-up game, put players into holes and make a difference.
England have beaten Wales twice since Eddie Jones took charge, but he's not experienced Wales at home in the Six Nations and doesn't understand the fear factor. Fans are hoping he gets to taste it for the first time tomorrow.
And if you want to watch all the matches between Wales and England this weekend, well, stay with us here on the BBC. It starts tonight with the under-20s over on BBC Two Wales at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, women's rugby, same channel, 11:20 in the morning. Then Rob Howley's men take on England here on BBC One Wales. Kick-off at 10 to 5. Commentary too on BBC Radio Wales and Radio Cymru. Switching sports, and the Football Association of Wales says it'll appeal a fine imposed by World Football's governing body, FIFA, for displaying poppies at a game. The FAW were fined just over £15,000 because fans wore poppies in the stands and the armed forces held bunches of poppies at the side of the pitch before a World Cup qualifier last November. Well, to a big game at the bottom of the Premier League now. It all takes place at the Liberty Stadium on Sunday. Swansea City, a point above the relegation places, take on Leicester City, who are one place above them. Now, head coach Paul Clement, who was named January's Manager of the Month today, will consider giving Jordan Ayew his debut after he signed from Aston Villa.
The two teams are on level points, and we won't play each other again this season. So it does add a little bit of extra spice to the fixture. Even though that we didn't get anything out of our last game, we go into this game still with a lot of confidence and belief that we're moving in the right direction.
Elsewhere, it's Friday night football for Newport County in League Two. Bottom of the table take on top of the table Doncaster. Elsewhere tomorrow, Cardiff City are away at Leeds United in the Championship. Wrexham also away in the Vanarama National League there at Dover. But of course, all the focus will be on this place tomorrow afternoon. And if the performances of the players can match the pre-game pyrotechnics, well, we should be in for a cracker, Lucy.
I think we will. Thomas, thanks so much. Now, forensic science students are studying how animal remains decompose in a bid to help solve criminal investigations. The outdoor facility at Wrexham's Glyndŵr University uses animal carcasses to help students understand the science behind it. Matthew Richards has been to visit, and I should warn you, his report is certainly not for the squeamish.
Well hidden at a secret location, you're more likely to smell the body farm before you see it. Forensic science students assess the effects of the natural environment on decaying bodies. In this case, ethically sourced animal carcasses stand in for the human variety.
We want to try and make the scenario as realistic to everyday life as possible. We want the normal entomology, we want the normal weather, we want it to be as close to the types of scenarios we would be looking at. Because the problem we have is if we do things just in the lab, then everything's a little bit artificial.
The subjects are placed in different locations to find out how long they take to decompose. All the data could help investigators identify human bodies, establish when they died, and even find hidden corpses.
There's certain nutrients that are released when a body decays, which are also beneficial to plants. So hopefully I should see an increase in these nutrients, which hopefully may affect how the grass is growing.
Forensic science isn't for the squeamish. 3 tubs of dead rats in various types of water make an immediate impression.
Well, I bet you're glad that I get to experience this rather than you, but we've just opened the last box which contains the rats in stagnant water. They've been there for some 9 weeks, and boy, the smell is certainly testament to that. A very, very strong smell, even in the outdoors.
I'm not a squeamish at all, but the smell is definitely something that you can't forget.
The body farm could expand to incorporate more experiments, which might be the key element in solving a mystery or even catching a killer.
Well, let's see how the weather is looking for the weekend now. What's in store for us then, Derek?
Well, Lucy, keep the thermals handy because we are in for a cold weekend. Temperatures staying very much on the cold side. There will be some dry weather, but also a few wintry showers. May even see a dusting of snow in places, particularly on the hills and mountains, and watch out for stronger winds on Sunday. Now, the cloud did break up today with some sunshine in Bala. This picture taken by one of our weather watchers overlooking Llyn Tegid. And how about this? Icicles in Blaenavon. The temperature there didn't get much above freezing today. And that cold weather stays with us tonight. The odd snow flurry possible in parts of Powys and the southeast. Otherwise, a dry night, breaks in the cloud, particularly in the west, with a widespread frost. Temperatures in most places dipping to freezing or below, perhaps as low as -4 in Ceredigion. So here's the picture then for 8 o'clock in the morning. Cloudy across much of the north and east of the country and Powys. 1 or 2 wintry showers. Meanwhile, parts of the south and west should be dry and brighter. Some sunshine and frost and Ceredigion. It's going to be pretty windy though on Anglesey. Now during the day, more showers will spread in from the northeast. These are a little bit wintry, rain or sleet, a little bit of snow on higher ground, the hills and mountains. Parts of the south and west, brighter glimpses of sunshine. Temperature-wise, only 2 to maybe 6 Celsius on the Llyn Peninsula, but feeling colder in the northeasterly breeze. So if you're in Cardiff for the big match tomorrow, it's going to be cold but largely dry. The temperature around 4 Celsius in the afternoon, but feeling more like freezing in the wind. Good luck to Wales, Pob Lwc, Cymru. Very cold and cloudy on the heads of the valleys tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of snow in places. The temperature just above freezing. Should be mostly dry in Pembrokeshire tomorrow. A few sunny intervals breaking through. A high of 5 Celsius in Crymych with a northeasterly breeze. And then tomorrow night, a few more showers. Again, they will be wintry in places. Drier in the southwest. Temperatures around freezing or just above with icy patches on high ground. Now, Sunday's chart shows high pressure stretching into Scandinavia, low pressure near Portugal, and that means stronger winds for southern Britain. So we are in for a cold and windy day on Sunday. A few more showers. Parts of the west and southwest dry and brighter. A little bit of sunshine in Pembrokeshire. The temperature only 3 to 6 Celsius at the highest, but add on that brisk wind, it will feel very cold. And then next week, we've got signs of a change on the way. Monday, dry, cold and windy, but we will see some sunshine. Less cold on Tuesday, the wind easing, and then it looks like turning milder midweek. In the meantime, a cold weekend, a few wintry showers and stronger winds on Sunday. Lucy.
Derek, thank you very much. So cold for the match tomorrow. Let's return to the Principality Stadium before we go. Thomas, it has been a week of mysterious build-up, hasn't it? But tomorrow things are going to get serious.
Yeah, serious, and some decisions possibly for the Wales coaching team with question marks over George North. It was a worrying sight to see him injure his right thigh in the win over Italy last weekend. The team arrived back in the early hours of Monday, went straight into their cryotherapy chambers to help them recover more quickly. They've only had 6 days to prepare for this England match, and there have been questions over the fitness of George North and Dan Biggar. And today we were given a first sight at George North training. Now, normally our cameras are given around 15 minutes to film the players. A bit stricter today, just 5 minutes. The Welsh Rugby Union controlling what we could and couldn't film. Just 5 minutes of pictures taken of George North, and he didn't move much during training. We'll have to wait and see. The Wales management will give him as much time as possible to prove his fitness and could leave it as late as an hour before kick-off. So we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see whether George North plays against England, Lucy.
We heard, didn't we, earlier this week, the England coach saying that the team can be a little bit intimidated by the atmosphere at the Principality Stadium. Just remind us of England's record there. I have to say, it is looking spectacular behind you there tonight.
Yeah, everything is ready for tomorrow's match. Fireworks, pyrotechnics. it's all set really for the big showdown between Wales and England. Yeah, a lot of talk about the record between Wales and England here in Cardiff. The overall record, that stretches back 135 years, is in Wales' favour. More look at more recent times, while England just edge it. They've claimed 5 victories in 9 championship matches here in Cardiff. But I just wonder, could experience be the key tomorrow night? Just look in the back row and the forwards. England, 20 caps between them. And when you look at Wales's back row, you've got 140 caps. All the match live tomorrow on BBC One Wales. Lucy.
Thomas, thank you very much. It's going to be quite an occasion, isn't it? Thank you so much. A reminder of our main story tonight. The UK government has given up on a scheme set up to protect the most vulnerable child refugees without enough discussion. And that is Wales Today from all of us on the programme. Thank you so much for your company. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.